big. He thought the silence was normal. He thought the stress was temporary. He thought life would warn him louder before it broke him, but life had already been warning him for years. At first, everything looked fine from the outside. He had a job, he had friends, he had a family that cared about him. Nothing dramatic, nothing tragic. Just an ordinary life. He woke up every morning at 7 a.m. The alarm rang. He hit snooze twice, dragged himself out of bed, checked his phone before brushing his teeth, scrolled through other people's success while feeling slightly behind. But he told himself it was normal. Everyone feels tired. Everyone feels stressed. Everyone feels lost sometimes. That's where he believed. In the beginning, the signs were small. He stopped enjoying things he once loved. He avoided phone calls from his parents because he was busy. He delayed doctor appointments because it's probably nothing. He felt constant pressure in his chest, but he blamed it on work. Deadlines, boss expectations, bills. Life was just demanding. That's all. He started snapping at people over small things. His patience grew thinner. His smile became forced. When friends asked if he was okay, he said, "Yeah, just tired." He ignored the quiet sadness that followed him at night. When the lights were off and the noise stopped, the thoughts came. What am I doing with my life? Why don't I feel happy? Is this all there is? But morning always arrived before he could answer those questions, and morning gave him the perfect excuse to ignore them. Busy people don't have time to feel, so he stayed busy. He worked overtime even when he didn't need to. He said yes to every request. He filled his weekends with distractions. Noise became his escape. Deep down, he knew something wasn't right, but facing it felt heavier than avoiding it. One evening, his mother called him. He almost didn't answer. He was tired. Long day. Headache. He just wanted silence, but he picked up. She asked him simple things. Had he eaten? Was work going well? When was he visiting? He responded quickly. Short answers. I'm fine. Just busy. She paused. Then she said, "You don't sound like yourself." He laughed it off. "I'm just tired." She didn't push. She just said, "Take care of yourself. Life doesn't slow down for anyone." He nodded even though she couldn't see him. He ignored that sentence too. Weeks passed. The pressure at work increased. A new manager came in. Expectations doubled. Appreciation disappeared. Mistakes were highlighted. Efforts were ignored. He told himself he could handle it. He had always been strong. He had always managed. But he stopped sleeping properly. He woke up at 3 a.m. Heart racing. He felt anxious for no clear reason. He began drinking more coffee to stay awake, then energy drinks, then late-night scrolling. His body was sending signals. His mind was sending signals. But he called it just a phase. One day, while driving home, he realized he couldn't remember the last 10 minutes of the road. He had been driving on autopilot. His mind was somewhere else. That scared him. For a moment, he thought, maybe I need a break. But then another voice said, "Don't be weak. Everyone is tired." So he kept going. His relationships started changing. Friends stopped inviting him out because he always canceled. His father stopped giving advice because he never listened. Even his laughter sounded different. Forced, short, empty. Inside, he felt like he was slowly sinking. But he compared his life to others and convinced himself he had no right to complain. People had worse problems. People were struggling more. So he silenced his own pain. That's how it grows. Quiet pain becomes heavy pain. Heavy pain becomes damage. The real sign came the day he forgot his sister's birthday. He never forgot important dates, but that day he was so buried in work, so distracted, so exhausted, that it slipped away. She didn't yell. She just said, "It's okay. I know you're busy." That hurt more than anger. He started noticing something else. He wasn't living. He was reacting. Reacting to emails, reacting to problems, reacting to expectations. He had stopped choosing. Life was choosing for him, and he allowed it. One night he looked at himself in the mirror. Dark circles under his eyes. Shoulders tense. Expression empty. He barely recognized the person staring back. When did I become this tired? He thought. When did I stop caring? But instead of making a change, he went to bed and promised himself, next month will be better. Next month never came. Life doesn't collapse in one dramatic moment. It cracks slowly. A missed call here, a postponed checkup there, an apology you delay, a dream you ignore. He always wanted to start something of his own. A small project, a passion, something meaningful. But he said ills start when things calm down. Things never calm down. The turning point came unexpectedly. His father fell sick. Big. Nothing extreme at first. Just fatigue, then hospital visits, then serious conversations. He sat in a hospital chair one night, staring at the machines, listening to the beeping sounds. For the first time in years, everything was quiet. No emails, no deadlines, no distractions, just reality. His father looked smaller in that hospital bed, fragile, human. And suddenly he remembered all the calls he ignored, all the visits he postponed, all the "I am too busy" excuses. Guilt hit him like a wave. He realized something painful. Life had been warning him, through exhaustion, through stress, through distance, through emptiness, but he thought he had time. We all think we have time to fix relationships, time to take care of our health, time to chase dreams. Until time makes the decision for us. The night his father needed surgery, he couldn't breathe properly. He felt helpless, not because he didn't love his father, but because he knew he hadn't shown it enough. Love delayed feels like love denied. Sitting in that cold hallway, he faced the truth he had been avoiding. He wasn't tired because of work. He was tired because he was living against himself. He ignored his body. He ignored his emotions. He ignored the people who mattered. He ignored his own dreams. He kept choosing comfort over courage. And life kept giving him signs, not loud signs, quiet ones, the kind you feel in your chest at night, the kind you notice when you stare at the ceiling and feel empty. The surgery ended. His father survived. Relief washed over him, but the fear stayed. That fear changed him. He went home and sat alone in his room. No music, no phone, no excuses, just silence. And in that silence, he admitted something he had never said out loud. "I am not okay." That sentence broke him. He cried, not dramatic tears, just quiet ones, the kind that fall when you finally stop pretending. He realized how long he had been performing strength, pretending to be fine, pretending to be in control, pretending to be happy, but ignoring signs doesn't make them disappear. It makes the consequences louder. He began noticing how disconnected he had become from himself. He didn't know what made him happy anymore. He didn't know what he wanted. He only knew what was expected. That's when the harsh reality hit him. Life doesn't beg you to change. It warns you. Softly at first, then firmly, then painfully. If you ignore exhaustion, it becomes illness. If you ignore distance, it becomes loneliness. If you ignore dreams, it becomes regret. He understood that he wasn't a victim of bad luck. He was a participant in his own neglect. That truth hurt. But it also gave him power. Because if he played a role in the damage, he could play a role in the healing. The change didn't happen overnight. There was no dramatic transformation. He didn't quit his job immediately. He didn't suddenly become fearless. He started small. He scheduled a doctor appointment. He visited his parents every weekend. He stopped answering work emails after a certain hour. It felt uncomfortable at first. Guilt tried to pull him back. What if you fall behind? What if people think you're lazy? But he reminded himself of that hospital hallway, of that fear, of that regret. He started waking up 30 minutes earlier. Not to scroll, but to sit quietly, to think, to breathe. He asked himself simple questions. What matters? What doesn't? He began saying no, not aggressively, not angrily, just calmly. And something surprising happened. The world didn't collapse. Work adjusted, people adjusted, and slowly he adjusted. He reconnected with old hobbies, simple things, reading, walking, writing down thoughts. He apologized to his sister, not with excuses, with honesty. "I've been distant. I am sorry." She hugged him and said, "I just wanted you back." That sentence stayed with him. He understood something important. Success without presence is empty. Money without health is fragile. Busy without purpose is exhausting. Life had given him signs for years, but the signs were never meant to scare him. They were meant to wake him up. The harsh truth is this: most of us don't break because life is unfair. We break because we ignore ourselves. We ignore our limits. We ignore our pain. We ignore the small voice that says, "Slow down." We wait for disasters to justify change, but change rarely comes from comfort. It comes from confrontation. He confronted himself. He admitted his fears. He admitted his insecurities. He admitted that he was chasing approval more than happiness, and that awareness became strength. He started building boundaries, protecting his time, protecting his energy. Not perfectly, but intentionally. He understood that responsibility isn't about carrying everything. It's about choosing what truly matters. His father recovered slowly. And during one quiet evening, they sat together outside. No deep speech, no dramatic music, just silence. Then his father said, "Life speaks to us every day. Most people are too busy to listen." He felt that sentence deeply. Because he had been one of those people. He had mistaken noise for progress. He had mistaken exhaustion for ambition. He had mistaken neglect for sacrifice. Now he knew better. Life will always give signs. In your health, in your relationships, in your emotions. They won't always scream. Sometimes they whisper, and ignoring whispers leads to screams. He didn't become perfect. He still felt stress. He still made mistakes. But he listened more carefully. When he felt overwhelmed, he paused. When he felt distant, he reached out. When he felt unhappy, he reflected instead of distracting himself. Growth wasn't dramatic. It was steady. And steady change lasts. He finally started working on his small dream project. Not because he was guaranteed success, but because he refused to delay his own life anymore. He realized something powerful. You don't need tragedy to wake up, but if you keep ignoring the signs, tragedy might do it for you. The choice is always there, subtle, quiet, waiting. He once believed life would warn him loudly before things fell apart. Now he understands. Life always warns you. The problem is not the absence of signs. The problem is the absence of attention. He ignored the signs life gave him, until the fear of losing everything forced him to see. And by the time he finally listened, he understood a truth that many learned too late. Life doesn't punish you suddenly. It gives you small chances to correct your path every single day. Listen early, or learn painfully, because in the end, life doesn't shout. It whispers first, and only the wise learn to hear it before it screams.